because I can't call you a journalist, even though, because I feel like you're so much more than just a journalist. Not that
Yeah.
anybody would ever call you just a journalist.
I feel like I'm a slash.
Plenty
I'm
slash.
a journalist slash
From one
podcaster
slash, from
writer.
one slash to another.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So Laura Dowrich, journalist. I started in media 1996, I think. It was a long time ago. And I've had a very, mixed career in media. Worked at the Trinidad Guardian, started off as a freelancer, moved to Port of Spain. I started in the South office in San Fernando because I'm a South girl. Big up South people because, we're the best. Moved to Port of Spain to work in Guardian, left the Guardian, went to MEP Publishing. They do publish Korean Beat.
Right.
And they did some other like Energy Caribbean magazine and stuff. Then I went back to the Guardian, where I was the editor for Metro magazine, which you may remember,
Yes.
a very popular
Yes.
entertainment publication.
I think I was in one of those
Yes,
episodes.
you were. And then I left to go Loop. So I was one of the founding members in Trinidad of Loop TT. That was in 2014. And in 2023, I decided to switch careers. And I left Trinidad and I went to the Turks and Caicos Islands, where I work as the PR manager for Experience Turks and Caicos, which is the destination marketing and management organization for the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Well, that sounds lovely.
Yes.
To take a job to go to a lovely paradise Caribbean island.
Oh my God, it is so pretty.
So I've never been. I've seen lots of pictures though. I have friends that vacation in Turks and Caicos.
Yeah.
I saw some of my New York friends, David and Kelly and his family and family, they were in Turks and Caicos, and I was so tempted to be like,
You need to come.
Yeah, I
It
know.
is pretty. If you like beaches, you're going to love Turks, honestly. And this is not me being biased because I've literally traveled throughout the length and breadth of the Caribbean. The best beaches in the Caribbean. The best beaches.
I mean, the pictures.
Bluest water. One writer said it looks photoshopped. It literally looks photoshopped.
That's what I was going to say. Well,
And
not Photoshop. I was going to say it looks fake.
It looks fake, and it's so clear. Like the first weekend I was there, I stood up on Grace Bay, which is the most popular beach because all of the resorts are on Grace Bay, and Grace Bay wins awards every year.
Grace Bay is. I'm assuming then it's big.
It's big. It's a long beach, but it's very popular. Always, it was ranked one of the top 50 beaches in the world.
Wow.
Last year. But I stood up there watching it. I couldn't understand. I was like, how is it so blue? But it's so clear. You could see your feet through the water. It's so clear.
Yeah.
And that's just one beach. All of the beaches are beautiful. All. So I'm in the beach, me and a bunch of trainees that I hang out with in Turks. So there are a lot of trainees working in Turks and Caicos.
Really?
Yes. So I have a great group of trainee friends that I met there. But we all bonded because, we're all away from home. So we all bonded. We formed our little community. We go to the beach practically every weekend.
Does is there a designated doubles maker in the group?
There actually is.
Because I have a theory, by the way. I think that Caribbean groups are stronger, like outside of the Caribbean or outside of
Yes.
where they are from in the Caribbean, if there's a designated doubles
We
maker.
do. And shout out Nigel Barrow.
You see?
He's actually a caterer here. He works
Nice.
as a caterer in Trinidad, and he could cook. So he's been trying to perfect doubles. You know what the weird thing is? When I got to Turks, so the Turks, we call them Turks Islanders.
Right.
They kept asking me everybody I met kept asking me if I could make doubles.
Because
These
it's so
people,
prolific now.
They have never eaten doubles.
That's crazy.
But it's so popular that everybody wants to try it. So people keep asking me, can you make doubles? I'm like, no. Why would I? There's a double stand in every corner in Trinidad. There's no need for me to learn to make it.
That makes me proud.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like people are dying to try it. They just want to come. Even chefs I've met, there popular chefs there who've been telling me, I want to try doubles. I want to come Trinidad just to try doubles. It's so popular as a food.
But it's popular. I mean, it's crazy to me how popular it is throughout the Caribbean. Because when I was in Barbados, there's a guy on the south coast,
Yeah.
Trini doubles,
Yeah.
with a little cart, like a little box cart with the Trinidad flag on it.
Yeah.
And I used to go in massive
Is
doubles.
that Kevin? Because I have a friend, Kevin Rondon, who
Very
sells
possible.
doubles. Yeah.
On the
He
South
does,
Coast.
Yeah, he has a double stand.
And I used to frequent there very often. But then I look outside of Trinidad and Tobago about how popular doubles have become in New York. I have friends,
Everywhere.
my American friends, my
Everywhere.
Caribbean friends in New York. Of course, Toronto. I mean,
Yeah.
the diaspora is very strong there.
Yeah.
But then I start looking at people who created sort of like an event type thing. I don't know if you've seen or come across Stephen Taylor and Reem
Yes,
in
yes,
LA
yes.
with their Eat Doubles events.
Yes.
And that's turning into its own thing, a brand of, I guess, popularity when it comes to
Yeah.
doubles. And it just, to me, it's just, I mean,
I think at this point it's the unofficial official food of Trinidad.
I think so.
Because that stunned me. I'm like, what do you all never even ate doubles?
And they
But
want to
you're
try
asking me about doubles. So there's one Guyanese place that we go to for lunch on a Saturday. They make doubles, but it's not.
It's not Trinity
I'm
doubles.
like, don't do that. They make
Right.
good curry. But
Yes.
the doubles, I'm like, but my friend, he, as I said, he's a caterer. He cooks, so he's been trying to perfect doubles. And of course, being his friend, we get a taste test.
Yeah, well, that's the best part.
Yeah.
I always said that I was supposed to be a chef because my two oldest friends in the world are both executive chefs
Oh wow,
and own their own restaurants.
nice.
And that my two oldest friends in the world, shout out to Chef John Aboud of Aioli
Right.
and Chef Rafiq Salim of Rolo's in
Okay.
Queens, New York.
Okay,
And I grew up in the States and then I moved here after for
those are good friends to have.
best
Yeah.
friends is the ones who cook. Anytime I go
Yes.
by Johnny, we I know I don't even have to ask, there's food there.
Yeah.
And the same with Rafiq. But I should have been a chef, but
Not too late.
a lot of other things got in the way.
It's not too late. It's never too late.
But yeah, I guess, I mean, we kind of talking to a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's probably a lot of things we could talk about, especially with all this stuff that's going on right now. But before we dive into that, because that's, I think, its own kind of conversation, I would love to hear what your thoughts are. And I know that, especially because you are not just you're not based in Trinidad, you're now based outside of the Southern Caribbean. So it might be nice to kind of get that perspective. But before we dive into that, I want to ask you about tourism, especially because you're working so closely in it now in Turks and
Yeah.
Caicos. Why? I feel like any question about tourism in Trinidad, it puts anybody on the spot, so I apologize in
That's
advance. But why can't we get it right?
Because we don't have the will. You have to have the political will to really want to develop the tourism industry. And I don't think any of our governments, past or present, have the will. I don't think they're interested. I think it's the curse of an oil and gas economy. We were satisfied and comfortable with oil and gas money, so there was really no need to diversify the economy in that way. And we just kind of ignore tourism. I also think that the powers that be don't really understand tourism. And I remember I was invited at one time to speak for the Tourism Trinidad had invited me as a stakeholder to contribute some ideas to they were doing the national tourism policy, which I don't think ever came out. And I remember telling them that Trinidad cannot forget Sunsea Sand. That is not our playground. Sea is not our playground. We cannot compete with the Northern Caribbean. We definitely not competing with Turks and Caicos, right? Forget that. We have nice beaches. Tobago has beautiful beaches. We have nice beaches here, but people are not going to come here. They're not going to bypass Bahamas, Jamaica, Cayman, Turks, Puerto Rico to come here for a beach. Forget that. But there's so many other things that we have that other islands have to create. I've been covering tourism in addition to entertainment and stuff, I've been covering tourism for a long time. There are lots of things we have here naturally that other islands have to create to get people to come. We don't need to create anything. We have everything here. Ecotourism, we have.
Check.
Right? Hikes, waterfalls, leatherback turtles, you name it. Ecotourism, down. Food tourism. Every island in the Caribbean claims to be the culinary capital of the Caribbean. But everybody agrees Trinidad has the best food. We're the only country that don't boast about having the best cuisine, right?
On a like a tourism level, like a global
on a tourism
level.
level. You could do food tours here. There's so many things you can do. My friend Franca Phillip had arranged recently. She does GoTober, and she had arranged this popular chef Nina Compton came down with Bridget Joseph, and they did a food tour. They went to Moruga, did a whole nice spread with Moruga Hill Rice, because there's so much history in the stuff that we do as
Absolutely.
well, right? So it's not just food. There's history behind the food that we eat because we have so many cultures coming together. Festival tourism, ain't nobody touching us when it comes to festivals. Nobody is touching us when it comes to festivals. Nobody. And I'm not even talking carnival, because
No,
the
I
world
agree.
thinks it's just carnival.
I agree.
But we have festivals throughout the year.
Yeah.
Like one of the festivals I keep saying that we need to really market as a tourism product is Diwali. Who is doing Diwali like us outside of India? Diwali is a huge deal here.
That's a good. I'm going to be honest. I never thought of that.
It is huge. You have the Diwali Nagar,
Yeah.
which is, just amazing.
Yeah.
You have Ramlila, which precedes Diwali, which is one of the oldest outdoor theaters in the world, in the Western Hemisphere. And the kind of work that these villages do to put on Ramlila, this is like a full production happening in villages throughout Trinidad with costuming, script, the whole music. Diwali is a whole thing.
By
Why
itself,
are we
yeah.
not marketing this? Why are we not packaging it and marketing it? The Indian diaspora would come to Trinidad to experience this in the Caribbean. Who's expecting to see this in the Caribbean?
Yeah.
You know?
And so strongly, not just in a small way.
Exactly. I have a friend who I went to school with in London, Malika Basu. She is now one of a very established food journalists in London of Indian heritage. And every time I tell her, like I talk about Diwali, and she's like, how do you know about all of these things? I'm like, I'm from Trinidad. I'm like, you need to come. So I introduced her to George Singh virtually. We had a conversation, and hopefully she's going to come this year
Nice.
to experience the food, but also experience Diwali outside of what she knows, because like that's just one example. There's just so much. There's so much that we have.
I mean, obviously, I agree. And then also we have awesome surfing. We have a lot of, those sorts of
We have diving.
attractions. Yes.
We have amazing diving in Tobago.
Yeah.
You have the beaches. Okay, Tobago have nice beaches. You have diving. We have party culture. Come on.
Do you think, because this is, I kind of think in the conversation goes hand in hand with tourism for anybody, but Trinidad and Tobago is our subject now. But do you think that our inability as governments and countries to really corral crime
No.
has contributed?
No.
I know there's crime because I thought of it this morning. Like I was thinking Thailand and Vietnam and Bali and thing. There's crime goes on there as well.
Listen, throughout the Caribbean, over the last 3 years, crime has been on the uptick throughout the Caribbean. It's not Trinidad is bad, but it's been on the uptick throughout the Caribbean. But that hasn't stopped their tourism industry. It's how you do it, right? They like in Jamaica, for instance, they have what they call a corridor, a tourism corridor, something they actually established during COVID. Because during COVID, they were still letting tourists come in, but they had this corridor where you have all the resorts and stuff, and
Right.
you're not among the people, the masses, so people were pretty safe. And those corridors are, the corridor is safe. In Turks and Caicos, for instance, we have most countries, you have like a hub. You have a space where it's a hub. So in Turks and Caicos, it's Grace Bay. That is where all the resorts are. It's beautiful. It's safe. You see tourists every morning jogging, riding their bikes, walking very comfortable late in the evening, and they feel safe. Not that there's no crime, but it's not affecting that area.
Right.
Right? So it's how it's done. So there's crime everywhere, but people will come as long as they feel safe and comfortable, and the message is there that we're taking care of the crime, right? And that is part of it. But if you just have crime and everybody posting a video of every murder, and these things go viral, like people in Turks come and show me videos from Trinidad with murders and stuff.
The American guy that unfortunately lost his life in Tobago.
So I'm like, we even as citizens, do we even understand how we damage in our country when we feel the need to keep taking these videos and pictures, because they're not contained within Trinidad, they go global.
Yeah.
And then there's nobody doing crisis comms for us. And that is a huge part of my job, to do crisis comms. Anything that happens that affects the image of Turks and Caicos Islands, I have to manage that.
Right.
Who's managing that for Trinidad?
I think the people managing it doing more damage than anything else.
So yeah, people will come if they feel safe.
Right. Yeah.
And also, if you market, what are we
No,
marketing?
we don't necessarily market, but I think that's why as well. And but then I guess now begs another question is, how do you feel then? Because I'm kind of ignorant to the kind of the environmental stuff. I think you may know more than me, but like the resorts that wanna build in the, I think Las Cuevas or the North Coast or Tobago or wherever it was, Black Rock, or I can't remember exactly where it was.
Yeah.
But would those do well for the tourism? Like, would those do well for us?
Again, I don't know. I don't know because I don't know the demographic of visitors we get in Trinidad and
Right.
Tobago. I think that determines a lot of things.
But do you think infrastructure might be a good place to start?
Of
That's
course,
what I'm thinking of.
infrastructure.
And the only reason I say
Infrastructure is
that
necessary.
because I think it sucks to say this, but I think Magdalena Grande is crumbling again.
It is.
Again.
Okay, look, Trinidad we don't have the kind of brand name hotels that people are attracted to. All right. But again, it depends on who is the demographic. Who are we catering to? Are we doing mass tourism? Are we doing niche tourism? And then that determines who are we doing high end spenders? Like, who are we catering to? That determines the kind of accommodation that you should have and the kind of brands that you can attract. So for Turks and Caicos, for instance, our niche is luxury. We are very small, so we go after a luxury market. And you find these people come and they will spend loads of money.
Insane money.
But they are very interested in the accommodation. They want to know the brand. So we get a lot of high profile accommodation brands that are in the island and then Turks kind of pioneered in the Caribbean, the whole hotel villas owner situation. So most hotels have villas that you can buy.
Right.
So what you find is we get a lot of repeat visitors.
Because
So
they have either
buy
timeshares or
villas,
owners
right.
or whatever.
They own villas.
Right.
And so they come repeated. People I've met who've been coming to Turks for over 20 years. And then their families come as
Right.
well. So it depends on the type of visitor you have. That will determine the kind of accommodation you should really be looking to invest in. It's very strategic, right?
So if we're going after, so then should we be going after more like a wide array of niche things like that ecotourism?
I think so. I think niches are where we live. And because we don't have the accommodation to handle mass tourism, we have at Port of Spain have 4 hotels? We don't have the accommodation for mass tourism. So
I mean, during carnival time alone, it becomes a disaster.
exactly. So niches should be our thing. So we have bird watching. That is a $1 billion industry.
Massive.
Right? We have the ecotourism. We have niches that we should be marketing to different people because those niches work for different times of the year as well.
True. And so it kind of spreads it out. It takes a little bit more reliance off of mass accommodations and
what you find
facilities.
even countries like Jamaica and stuff that do mass tourism, you find now they're looking into the luxury niche because luxury is smaller quantity but bigger spend. At the end of the day, what you want is the spend, right? You want people to come and spend money in your country.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have been looking into those smaller niches, and I think that is the way we should go. But again, it comes to what is the product? What is the product we're offering? Product development to me is the most important part of a tourism organization.
Yeah.
I don't know how much product development we do here in Trinidad. Tourism Trinidad, I have no clue.
Well, we've spent billions, so I'm assuming a lot.
I don't know because I don't see any evidence of it.
No, neither do I.
Because it comes down to what are you curating, what are you creating, what are you packaging and marketing. I don't see any of those things outside of the private interest. I don't see.
You know, it's fun. I just connected a dot. We were, just before we came on, we were talking about how independent media, and now is the time for independent creators or independent media because people are consuming information at such a rate now that there's space for it. We had Alan Charles on, Trini Surfer, a few episodes ago, and
his content is amazing.
He does, but there's tons of others like O'Neill Daniel, whose episode is he's Snake Whisperer. TT, they all do tours, is what I'm saying.
Yes, they do tours.
And they all, and now Alan is getting bookings from outside of Trinidad, people who are traveling in for whatever reason, whether it's for the tour or to visit family. And
so
then
the
you do the
private
tour.
sector is driving tourism.
It's working.
Yes, but you do need government
100%
to develop the infrastructure. So Alan
these guys should be given massive incentives.
Right, but Alan and Dave would bring people will come. But then you go on a hike and the trails are not properly maintained. There's no signage.
Right.
Are there benches?
You're
Are
right.
there restrooms? That is where tourism Trinidad and the government comes in. They have to create, that is part of the product development. You have to create the environment for people to want to come and experience what you have to offer. So the private sector is doing their job in that they bring in the tours and they create the tours, but in terms of maintaining different things.
Yeah.
And also looking at, creating new things. So if you realize there's a demand for culinary tourism, then create a culinary event, right?
Right.
That shouldn't be left to the private sector.
With Restaurant Week is a completely private
right.
thing. Yeah.
Have a Trinidad and Tobago gastronomy week or something, where you have our chefs, on display, and you have mixologists, and you could bring in people and do classes and workshops, and there's so many things
and
you
on
can
top
do.
on top of the event itself, that then creates content
Exactly.
that can live forever.
Exactly. And you have people like Alan, you have people who do all these different tours and stuff. Even for Carnival, I don't even think we do enough when it comes to marketing Carnival. Because again, we're driven by the private sector, the fed promoters, the
Correct.
bands. So when you go on Instagram and stuff, you're seeing the pretty mass, you're seeing the feds. You're not seeing anything else.
You're not seeing the stick
You're
fighting.
not seeing the stick fighting, the traditional mass. Where the tours,
Luckily, Panorama and Kings and Queens is respected enough, but it's not enough.
But still,
Yeah.
people outside don't even know about the pan crawl, for instance. Pan crawl is a tourism product.
Yeah.
Right? Who doesn't love a pan? I love the pan crawl. Panorama semi-finals is a tourism product, and there are people who come home, who come to Trinidad specifically for that. Look at Soca Weekend. Schoon has created a weekend where people actually come to Trinidad for that weekend for Iron Park, which to me is one of the best innovations in Carnival in years.
Pretty smart.
Very smart. Soca festival. So you have to, tourism has a role to play there. So you want to promote, as tourism, you want to promote our traditional mass because they are the ones that need help. Where is there a tour to go Paramin on Monday? Are you advertising Blue Devil Mass on Monday? Because a lot of people come to Trinidad don't know that exists. I talk to people about this all the time, and they're like, "What?" So people go. If you look at the example of Grenada, where two of my friends, Melissa Noel and Tennille Clark, created a press trip, and they invited some really top-notch media to go to Grenada to cover Spice Mass.
Right.
And for the last 3 years, you've seen all these articles about Spice Mass in Vogue and all these top publications, Billboard and all these places. And Jab Jab Music ended up, Muddy's song, Payroll, ended up on Rolling Stone Top 100 Songs of 2025 because they had invited a journalist who works for Rolling Stone to Spice Mass.
That's how it works.
Right? So then the conversation now is like, oh, Spice Mass is about culture. Nobody talks about culture when they talk about Trinidad, but we have it in spades and we know that.
Yeah.
But who is packaging it?
Albeit over-commercialized, but yes, in
Still,
spades. Yes.
Who is packaging it and selling it to the world?
Yeah.
Right? As tourism, those are the images I would put. I wouldn't put no girl in no thong or no poster anywhere. I would put our traditional mask because those images are powerful.
Yeah.
So
and we see the beads and feathers. I mean, people see it's synonymous with Brazil and stuff, and that's fine. I'm a big fan of it.
That's fine. I don't care.
But in terms of selling, they're stronger
because
imagery,
our carnival is so much more than that. There should be tours to mass camp tours. There should be tours where people could go and learn immersive experiences where you could go and learn wire bending, for instance, right? Or you could just learn how to make your own headpiece or something. Like, give people something. There's so many gaps in carnival. Like, there are no events for experiences for families, for instance. Where do you carry your family? A lot of people don't want to take their children to watch Monday and Tuesday mass because they don't like the nakedness. But what is there for outside of kiddies carnival? If your child not playing mass, what is there for you as a family to experience? Years ago, during COVID, actually, Jules and his wife,
Sobian.
yes, Candice had done an amazing family event, which I keep harassing her until she needs to bring back. She had an event for families where you could come and learn to walk like a mokajumbi. Right? You bring your children, parents, so fathers, mothers, children, putting on the stilts and learning to walk. And then afterwards, there was a beautiful picnic under the big salmon tree. So that is the kind of things that we should be creating for Carnival, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that because we are, my assessment of all of this, my conclusion is that because we are an oil and gas country, revenue-wise, because outside of revenue, we are not just an oil and gas company, but revenue-wise, I think that everything then reverts back to money.
Yeah.
And, is it bringing value? But value, the definition of value to the government would only be money because that soft capital is not seen as
but the thing
valuable.
Is,
clearly.
And that's the thing when I say political will. Some of these things are not going to bear fruit in 5 years. right?
No, it takes time.
So you need to invest. And
100%
if
agree.
the government changes, the people coming in need to understand that this is something you need to continue because it will bear fruit eventually.
100% agree.
Right?
Have you been to, you were talking about infrastructure and maintaining like trails and stuff like that. Have you been to Harrison Caves
I have.
in Barbados?
Yes.
One of the most amazing
Yes,
sites
and
in the
the little
Caribbean.
the little train tour through Harrison. Yes.
That's probably one of my favorite
Yeah.
geographical formations in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
That cave that blows me away.
Yeah.
But also what the government has done, the visitor center down in the entrance of the cave.
Yep.
That tram ride, as you said.
And the thing with them, they partnered with, so the government provided the infrastructure, and they partnered with Chaka Caribbean, who does the tram tours and everything. Chaka out of Jamaica. So you don't have, the government doesn't have to do everything by themselves, you know. But there are private people that you can work with.
Of course.
But you just have to provide the infrastructure for it to happen. I just don't know why we just don't want to get it. I remember.
We have the largest bat cave in the Western Hemisphere,
Yes,
or something, or the second largest bat cave, or
I
the
don't
largest
know.
bat cave.
I don't know.
It's
But
something
we
like
have
that.
so much. Look at DDI. We have so
Yeah.
much. And those islands, DDI, those are stories on their own, right?
Of course,
That Salt Lake that looks like glass.
Shakashkari.
Yeah, that like, man, we have so much here.
It's
We
so
have
true.
so much here that we could package and sell, and I don't know.
I mean, people come, like you said, the private sector is kind of doing it,
Yeah.
but
But
then
people
you
just
added a
don't know.
layer where the government could do a better job in kind of
They can. Listen,
building up these tourism sites that can then give the private sector a better chance.
and just to market the country, like I interact, because I'm PR, I interact with international journalists and travel advisors all the time, and they don't know anything about Trinidad. Majority of them, they know nothing about Trinidad,
Yeah,
which is, I'm like, oh, okay, but my job is not to sell Trinidad, so
yeah.
you know,
Turks and Caicos.
yes.
What do you think has been the biggest contrast from working, I guess, between Trinidad and Turks and Caicos? Because I'm trying to kind of crack it. How does government think over there? Is it, we have beautiful beaches, so let's sell the beautiful beaches, or we have nothing else, so we better sell the beautiful beaches?
So literally, tourism is the only main industry in Turks and Caicos. It accounts for about 85% of the GDP.
And what's the
So
rest?
they
Like some sort of minimal exports somewhere?
Yeah.
Fruits or something like that?
Fish and stuff like
Right.
that. So they're reliant on tourism, right? So they have to get it right.
When did that turn on? When did Turks and Caicos become a destination? Or when did they decide that we need to?
Probably within the last decade. It's still relatively young.
So what were they doing like 30, 40 years ago?
Salt.
Oh, wow.
Salt was the big
Oh,
industry
okay.
there.
All right. Okay. Noted.
So on South Caicos, Salt Key, and Grand Turk, you have these massive salinas where they would.
I had no clue.
A lot of people don't know. Yeah, there's these massive salinas where they would produce salt. You could, if you go to South Caicos, you see in the salinas, you actually see the salt on the.
Wow.
You know, you could just rake some salt off the ground. It was huge. The salt industry was huge, but it became too big for them, and so the salt industry kind of moved to Bahamas, where they produce molten salt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the demand was too much.
And so does the salt still get extracted?
No, the salt
No.
industry is pretty dead.
Wow.
But
And
the,
so
but the salinas are there, so they're like just an attraction now.
Okay.
So the salinas are there, and you see like donkeys, feral donkeys, because donkeys used to be like the main form of transportation back
Right.
then. So the donkeys just roam all over Grand Turk, South Caicos, and Salt Key.
That's-
So it's very cute. Yeah.
I have a cousin who's a vet, and he said he once told me that the two scariest animals that he's ever encountered was a feral cow, feral cows, which we have in Trinidad, and feral donkeys, which we also have in Trinidad. He said those are the two scariest.
Why scariest?
He said that they're super territorial. And you
Oh,
wouldn't think of a cow being territorial. Maybe the donkeys are used to tourists, but not in the forest in South here.
In Grand Turk, because Grand Turk is the cruise capital, so that's where our cruise port is. The donkeys are so accustomed to tourists. I remember once driving up to the lighthouse in Grand Turk, and the glass was up. I was just sitting in the car, and I saw a donkey in the distance. And when I look up, he was right by my window. I'm like, how you reach across here so
They
fast?
know tourists.
Yeah,
They know the people.
tourists.
They know people.
But in South Caicos, however, they don't see a lot of people, so they're very shy. So you
Right.
see them like hanging out under a tree or they're just like in the bushes. They're kind of shy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. So tourism is the most important thing, and that's how Experience Turks and Caicos came about, because the government had dissolved the tourist board and created Experience Turks and Caicos as a DMMO to really enhance what we do. So we don't just market and promote the destination. We also responsible for product development,
right.
which is major. So that is, again, making sure what we have existing is good enough, and really enhancing it with proper signage and, trails. Make sure trails are good. Make sure they have seating. Make sure there's, things for you to look out, nice,
Right.
stuff like that. And then to create new experiences as well.
Not just the overarching infrastructure, but literally the benches and trails.
Yeah, making sure proper Wi-Fi in public areas, things like that. Just anything to enhance the visitor experience, and also to really boost local businesses, because there are a lot of local businesses in tourism. So we have a mandate to ensure everybody benefits from tourism.
Right.
So we work a lot with local businesses and work a lot with different communities. So all across the island, like before, because Provo is the main island, all the tourists will just come to Provo. Now we make sure to let people know
There's
we are a
experiences elsewhere.
multi-island destination. So don't just come to Provo. Go to North and Middle Caicos.
Right.
Go to South Caicos. Go to Grand Turk. So we try to get people to go out to the other islands and have different experiences there.
Right. So I guess what I'm hearing is that, one, it was a conscious decision to create or invest in a tourism industry, and two, it's not a one and done. It's literally an investment.
It's an investment
over time,
and it's ongoing.
and development.
Yeah,
of
it's
that
development.
of that
There's
investment and industry.
Yeah, so many factors there. There's the investment in the infrastructure, investment in training, investment in local businesses, but also there's a lot of investment in making sure we show up at all these shows all over the world.
Right.
Because that's important. Working with travel advisors, we do a lot of training with travel advisors, a lot, because these are the people that are selling the destination. So we make sure they know everything about the destination. It's constant. We host a lot of farm trips, a lot of media, a lot of travel advisors come to the destination. So it's constant work. You can't rest on your laurels. You know?
At the end of the day, it kind of reminds me of like the travel advisors who are selling. It kind of reminds me of like doctors and medical reps and pharmaceuticals.
Pretty much.
It's like you have to be in your face.
You have to be in their face.
And tourism is one of those industries where it's you're competing with countries literally like next door. Like
exactly.
20 minutes flight.
Exactly.
Which is insane in itself. Which again, I guess because I try to think of why, and I for some reason every so often I'm not even involved in tourism, but every time I talk about Trinidad, I encourage people to come. So maybe in my own way I am, but I always thought to myself, is it because maybe we don't have as nice waters as the rest of the Caribbean, so we had to think about selling Trinidad and Tobago as opposed to just saying beaches?
Well, yes, because for a long time I think Turks and Caicos didn't need to sell itself. The beaches did.
Yeah.
But as it became more competitive, especially post-COVID, you really have to ramp that up and sell it. Trinidad's our disadvantage is also that we're the bottom, we're the southernmost island in the Caribbean, right?
Yeah.
So you really have to hard sell people to tell them to pass all those countries to come way down here. Plus, we don't have the airlift. We don't have the variety of airlift you'll find. Like Turks, every major airline flies to Turks. And also, in the Northern Caribbean, you literally hop, skip, and jump from the States. It's an hour and a half from Miami.
Yes.
So
which becomes, that's like a nothing. That's a bus ride.
Exactly. So we in Trinidad, we competing with that. How do we convince people that they need to come down here? What is the product we're offering them?
So it has to be specific.
It has to be specific.
And it has to be unique.
Yes, and we have to just package it properly. Because with travel now, people are looking for things that are authentic, something new, something different, which is why I find you probably find so many content creators coming to Trinidad, because it's not really one of those countries people talk about all the time.
And it's not overly touristized.
Exactly. We're not touristy at all.
So we are a little bit more authentic to our who we are.
Yes, and that's what people are looking for.
Yeah.
People are looking for authenticity.
And so
People want to
therefore
be part of the community.
let's work that into the tourism.
Exactly.
Which is what we were saying before about everything, the
I made
hikes and the people and the food.
I did a presentation for the Tobago Hotel Association, and I said that to them. To me, Tobago's biggest sell is that spirit of community that they have. Those harvests. I don't know any island in the Caribbean that does a weekly harvest where you see the men cooking. I don't know anything. I don't see that anywhere else. To me, that is a huge sell for Tobago.
Right.
That idea of community spirit, and you could just show up at a community and you could eat a good meal and talk to people. People are looking for those sorts of immersive experiences.
That's true. Because we don't need to try, we scream authenticity.
Exactly.
Because we're not trying, we're not putting anything on.
We don't have to try.
We've never been a
This is who we
performative.
are.
We've never really been performative.
Never.
We just do
This is
who we are.
This is who we are. And there is a traveler out there who wants that.
My favorite island in the Caribbean, I've said this for decades, is Tobago. It's my favorite island in the Caribbean because I love a beach, but there's no way that a vacation to me is going to be 90% beach. I want food.
Exactly.
I want to go out and see, like, again, I bring up Barbados because they've packaged their tourism so well, and so are the other islands. But Barbados is packaged because they're also a little financial hub. They're also they're also an export hub. With rum and all these different things. But Harrison Cave, Animal Flower Cave on the North Coast, George Washington House. That to me is probably the coolest building in the whole. I mean, the fact that they preserved it for hundreds of years and you can literally see what the kitchen looked like in 17 whatever. That's insane to me. But that's that's what they do. But I think that we could really benefit from more people coming here. I would love if we could figure out crime or at least start a campaign. It's like, hey, let's not interfere with the tourists.
And so somebody had asked me.
Has anybody ever done that? Has any country ever resorted to that? Please don't interfere with the tourists.
I think because so many islands, their whole economy is so dependent on tourism that people, they don't interfere with the tourists. They just know, okay.
Yeah.
Most of the crime is just among the community. They don't interfere with tourists. But I remember saying this before. If I was running tourism here, I would focus first on domestic tourism. Because to me, you need to get Trinidadians and Tobagonians on your side. You need them to be invested. This is us. We selling us, right? So you need them to be invested. And I would run a campaign. Because to me, something like that would also help with crime, to instill some sort of patriotism and pride in the country, right?
Oh, 100%.
Which we need.
100. I agree. That's where that would be an excellent start.
Yeah, because I said this on Facebook recently. All these content creators come and they speak so highly about us, but there's so many of us who just don't like our country and we don't know it. We don't know the country. Yeah. And that saddens me. Growing up in South people, we are the ones who go all over Trinidad, right?
I would agree with that.
We go everywhere. So we know South. Like, I remember every Sunday, my father would be like, after lunch, okay, jump in the car. We going all over Arima, all over the place. We going. Christmas time, we in every mall. Every mall, from West Mall down to Trinity Mall, we in every mall. So we used to go everywhere. Every Independence Day, jump in the car, we go into the parade. I was shocked when they canceled Independence. I was saying, growing up, that was a thing for us. We go to the parade every year. And there were a lot of people who told me they never went to the parade. And I'm like, how? How are you living in Trinidad? You never went to Independence Parade, not once? Yeah. There are too many of us who don't know our country, and we're not teaching our children the country either. So children growing up, they know Miami like the back of their hands. They know New York like the back of their hands. They don't know Trinidad. But
you've never been to the Pitch Lake. You've never been to the Mud Volcano.
But fortunately, what I'm seeing now, especially on TikTok, I'm seeing younger people, teenagers, who are discovering the country, maybe because of the content creators. But I remember one girl was saying, I can't remember her name. I saw her on TikTok recently, and she was saying that she never liked Trinidad. She never wanted to stay here. But now that she's an adult, she has a car, she started going out, and she's like, Trinidad is a really lovely country. This is an amazing country. So we need some campaigns to encourage us to get out and learn. So, PTSD does this Know Your Country tour every July, August. How many people know that?
I did not know that.
They do that every July, August. Know Your Country. You could jump on a bus and go anywhere in Trinidad.
I did not know that.
There are tour operators I remember taking a tour at Loop, where this guy took us from Port of Spain to Point Fortin, and along the way showed us every military bunker that was used during the World War and give us a whole history. And there are a lot of these remnants of these things
Yeah.
all over the country.
That would be cool just to find out. Yeah.
There's so many people doing tours, you know. And again, that's what the tourism ministry or Trinidad Tourism should be doing, like publishing a list of tour operators and letting people know you could book with these tours and this is where you could, but we need to learn our country. And then maybe something like that would help with the crime.
Yeah.
Because there are communities that could become tourist spots. So for instance, you have, you know, these communities that used to be making chocolates. That's something that could benefit the community.
Yeah,
right?
Alan spoke about that as well. He said, imagine if you could go to say Morva, Laventille, and you could get, you know, a tour of the arts and crafts, the food, the history of
and
the
then you
of the
encourage
city
the community
itself.
to get involved. They have little stores,
Yes.
you know, the people selling food, and you inject some of that money. Just encourage that kind of pride. Something like that could go a long way.
Yeah.
Because crime, we need the policing. We need the justice system to work. We need a good prison system. But we also need to instill pride into the communities, right? And provide economic opportunities for them, especially now where there's no CPEP and there are communities where so many people rely on stuff like that. We need to bring that pride back, and those things kind of help to boost, you know. I mean, maybe I'm just naive and optimistic, but I really think if we have an invested effort to really encourage more domestic tourism and really instill that pride, that we will see something positive happening.
Yeah. I think it's, for me, I grew up going everywhere around Trinidad and Tobago. It's just, I kind of grew up experiencing that. I went to primary school in the States.
Yeah.
And then I came here and I finished school. So to me, I felt like I didn't have a childhood growing up here necessarily, except for like summers and some Christmases and things. And as I grew up, I wanted to, as I got a little older, teenagers and things, I wanted experience. So I spent, cumulatively, probably months in Mayaro and the southeast of the country.
Yeah.
And well, Tobago, of course. I've driven around Tobago so many times. I make that kind of like a thing that I'll drive around Tobago.
Yeah.
And there's a road from I think it's from Scarborough or Roxborough to Scarborough, I think, to the northwest
Castara.
coast. One of those.
Yeah.
Or Palatuve or Plymouth or one of those up
Yeah.
there. And that road takes you past, I think you drive on the highest point of Tobago.
Yes.
That to me is like things that, even though it's jungle and bush, it's just things that people
It's an
should experience.
We know much times growing up, we go to beach houses with friends in Mayaro or whatever, and you know, you just get out. And I'm thankful to my parents for giving us those experiences. Even Carnival, you know, you go to everything. Go to Skinner Park. I grew up going to Skinner Park, you know. Juve, you're just immersed in everything. As a journalist, I went to Pagua. I went to everything, and I like to carry my children to these things because I want them to experience what they would learn in school. Don't just read it in social studies. Come and experience it. So you could, even if it's just once, at least you could say, "Oh, well, I experienced this." Because how is it going to learn your country?
Yeah,
and we can't sell our country to foreigners if we don't know it.
If you don't know it and you don't understand it. Like my nieces and nephews, my siblings' children, they take them to the Independence Day parades and the Diwali parade and Light a Dia and whatever carnival celebration that would be appropriate for them. It's, you know, it's good to experience your country. You cannot spend, because you see this is dangerous.
But also there's, you know, I met a friend of mine who's also in Turks, a trainee I met in Turks, and he was telling me he lives in Port of Spain, and he said that he never left Port of Spain to go anywhere in Trinidad. He never participated in carnival. He never went south, never went Shogunas until he became an adult. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I feel also that maybe people don't feel like they belong in certain places in Trinidad. And that is a real thing, huh?
Maybe.
That is a real thing. Like, you people think, well, maybe this is too posh for me. I don't belong there. But I carry my children everywhere because I'm like, this is your country. And you need to feel comfortable everywhere in your country. So maybe there's also that. I don't know. But we do need to really instill some pride in our countries. Maybe run some campaign or something that would help with the crime situation.
Have a few positive social commercials that I wrote, what Cameron and I wrote. I'll send them to you. I want to get your opinion. just to see what you think. There's a couple of commercials that we wrote that are about that,
Yeah.
all about our patriotism and who we are, and that we should be proud of it.
I
quite
remember
frankly.
once at Loop, when I was at Loop News, I had done, Loop Jamaica had done it. There's something called Jamaica We See. So I adopted it in Trinidad for our independence. That stretch between Independence and Republic Day, encouraging people to send photographs of the Trinidad that they see, showcasing the beauty of Trinidad. Man, you see the beautiful photos we got. People were so excited and happy to share that kind of positivity, and we need more of that because Trinidad is a beautiful place. It's a beautiful country with beautiful people, and we don't need foreigners to come here and tell us that. We need to discover that ourselves.
But we know it. But we need
know it.
We need. I think we need to. I don't know. Do we need to give ourselves permission to know it and feel it? I don't know what it is, because
I don't know.
Or are we just kind of, unfortunately, kind of slowly becoming jaded because of our governments?
I think so. I think people just, people get turned off with the crime. They feel anxious. They feel scared. There's a lot of fear. You don't want to come out your house. You don't trust anybody. So maybe there's all that plays in. I mean, these are real things too.
Of course.
It's real, but...
I mean, rising cost of living. I mean, it's literally, how much you really want people to care when they need their children to feed and bills to pay. That's because I have, you have to be kind of sensitive to that as well.
You do. And there are people who are challenged, just affording to drive a car. They can't afford taxi fare. So there are challenges, right? There are challenges.
No, that's true. I random segue, and I apologize.
That's okay.
But we went off. It was a nice, really good conversation on tourism, because I learned quite a bit of why we are where we are, I guess. But this whole, again, random segue, this whole Venezuela, United States scenario, the reason I'm throwing this in is because you're outside of Trinidad, and you've kind of been experiencing it, and then obviously you experienced all of it the last week. What are people saying up the islands?
Can I tell you, from outside, it's scary.
It looks scarier than it is.
I was terrified to come home.
Right.
Because I was new. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna bomb Trinidad. Like it's scary when you're outside. Even my bosses are like, you sure you're going home? You sure you could come back? Make sure you can come back. Like people have been messaging me while I've been here. Is everything okay? What's that going to go? But then I get home, and I'm like, oh,
double still selling,
party still going on. It's carnival. Everything feeling normal on the streets. So I'm like, okay. So I remember when they bombed Caracas, a friend of mine, she was in the airport trying to head back to Turks, and she called and said they bombed Caracas. Flights canceled. I'm like, oh my God, can we leave? Oh my God. But that's the only time I think while I've been home that I felt some kind of nervousness. And I'm like, Lord, please let me get out before anything escalates.
When you're flying, you're nervous as it is.
Yeah.
But then to have this kind of madness
but
going
from
on
outside it looks scary.
Yeah. Like I have my friends in New York who are messaging same way.
Yeah.
And asking, how is everything? Are you all okay? I'm like, we're fine. I mean, it feels okay. You know? I mean, it sucks for, I guess, certain groups of people, which I think is kind of the case for every situation, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Palestine.
I don't think people just, honestly, I don't even know. I just don't think people know how to feel, because this is it's a weird time that we're living through. Yeah. And I did international relations in UWI, right? So as you will discover, I have lots of interests.
Yes, a slash to a fellow slash. I get it.
So I did a postgrad diploma in international relations because at one time I fancied myself being a foreign service officer.
Nice.
I love international relations. I love geopolitics. Love it, love it, love it. But it's like, I can't believe we're actually living through this time. Like, it's insane. I'm fascinated and horrified at the same time, but really fascinated because these are the things we read in history.
Yeah.
And now it seems that we are living through things that went on before. So I don't think people know exactly how to feel. Like, there are no rules anymore. There are no rules. It's like, whatever.
Well, like, because I guess, not that we're going to get into the political side of the convo, but Maduro has been sort of a bully to his own people. He hasn't left, he allegedly or supposedly, from everything I've read, lost the last election. Mm-hmm. And And what I tell people is like, I'm not for removing a foreign leader, but if you're going to be a bully in the Western Hemisphere, there's a bigger, badder bully in the United States.
There's always a bigger, badder
Correct.
bully. There's always a bigger, badder.
Who's going to come and put you in your place? And then when you shout on camera saying, "Come and get me, you coward," you're kind
But you know what?
provoking.
There are people in the Caribbean who I've spoken to who want this.
Yeah.
They want the might of America in the region, and there are people who don't, right? But I mean, just understanding the politics. I remember interviewing the last U.S. ambassador we had here in Trinidad, Candice Bond, and asking her about the U.S. response to the presence of China in the region. And I think for a while, America kind of just got complacent because the Caribbean was always very important to them during the Cold War. I think, so I don't know what happened. They got a little complacent. They weren't paying attention to us as much. China came in, all these governments signed this Silk Road Initiative, taking loans from them. They became very popular in the region. And then I think one day,
Snatching ports left, right, and center.
Right, I think one day America woke up and said, hey, wait a minute. What's happening in our backyard?
Right.
And I think all of that, this is not something that Donald Trump woke up this morning and decided he's going to do. This something's been bubbling for previous administrations.
American. That's why I don't name any president. This is American foreign policy.
Exactly. This is American foreign policy. That is what's going on. Yeah. It's American foreign policy. And none of this is new. This has been going on from time immemorial. Yeah. You have superpowers that rise and colonize and take over. This is the history of the world. And we just happen to be living through
a big shift.
A big shift. This
is a game of risk.
This is definitely an inflection point for the world right now.
China's taking Taiwan. Russia's going to take whatever parts of Ukraine at once.
NATO and Europe trying to figure out themselves.
Well, NATO is its own issue, has its own issues.
Yeah.
And then the United States is reestablishing their dominance in the Western Hemisphere.
That is what it comes down to.
Geopolitics.
And that's why I find it's fascinating.
Not for the faint of heart.
No, it's not. Which is why I wanted to be a foreign service officer, because I find this whole thing very sexy.
Right, well. If you can live in it and you can kind of understand the goings on.
Yeah.
And it's fine if people get emotional. It's fine.
They have to.
People's lives are at stake.
Yeah,
so
at the end of the day, we are impacted, right?
Yes.
The economies are impacted. Trade is impacted. Everything is impacted. We're all going to be impacted somehow.
Yeah.
But the thing is, being on social media, and I always encourage people to get off social media and go touch grass. Yeah. Because social media is this concentrated
echo chamber.
Echo chamber, literally. That could send you crazy because you just consuming all of this news and it makes you anxious. It makes you fearful. You need to get off.
Yeah. Well, what the algorithms do first is they build your confirmation bias. Mm-hmm. So first they surround you with like-minded people who think like you and who post you like and stuff like that.
Yes.
Then they start to introduce dissenting sides to encourage engagement in the form of enragement.
And I don't think a lot of people understand that. No. They don't understand it's the algorithm
is doing all of this. But then the algorithms are developed by these institutions for engagement. But then they realize enragement equals engagement.
Exactly.
So we are playing ourselves. I don't mean to.
I also feel like we living in the decline of social media. Because I feel like the younger people, like the Gen Zers, are not as attached as we were.
No,
they're not.
I was sucked right in.
You and I
totally.
both.
I was on Facebook. Actually, I was on Facebook when it was only for universities, and you had to have a certain .edu address.
Yeah.
I think 2003, 2004.
I think I joined Facebook probably. I was resisting. I joined probably 2007.
That was me with Instagram.
Yeah.
I resisted for a while.
No, I was Instagram instantly.
I resisted for a while. But Twitter, I was in the. This is a random claim to fame. Yeah. I'm in the first 10,000 users on Twitter.
Oh, wow. Serious?
I had a roommate who used to work for the internet like Gawker and BuzzFeed and all these companies. Yeah. And one day he came home, Zach, old roommate of mine, old college buddy of mine, he came home and said, you need to download Twitter. I was like, what is Twitter? He's like, it's Facebook, but just statuses. I was like, that sounds horrible. But I downloaded it and I've had it since, I think September 2008, September 2008.
I don't remember when I joined Twitter. I don't remember.
And then it exploded in March 2009.
Yeah. But I think for our generation, it started with those chat rooms.
Yeah.
that used to have back in the day.
Yes.
So I think for us it was like the chat rooms, and then it went to like MySpace.
I thoroughly enjoyed MSN Messenger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thoroughly.
Yeah.
I never had a MySpace.
Really?
I never had a MySpace.
I had a MySpace.
Yeah.
I used to talk to a lot of artists on MySpace.
It was because it became MySpace, it blew up and then it kind of went away.
Yeah.
But I definitely joined Facebook right away.
Yeah. I think for our generation, we just, everything new that came along, we're like, oh, let's join this.
But you're right. I think that the younger generation is not caring as much.
No, they're not.
About that. Maybe it's, and which would be a good thing, a less need for external validation.
Yeah.
I would look at that as a positive.
I feel like there are all these articles coming out now about analog marketing and analog this, and I'm like, are you all going back to how it used to be? The younger generation seem to want more real world experiences now.
It feels that way.
Yeah, even like with dating and stuff, they like these weird articles that you keep seeing, like, oh, you can meet somebody offline. I'm like, oh, but
you mean like what they've done for thousands of years?
Now they want landlines, telephone landlines. Now they want vinyl records. I'm like that. Yeah. So you're just going back to how it was. But yeah, I think it's an interest. And I've been meeting a lot of people who just aren't on social media at all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's interesting. How do you do that? So I feel like
my brother
really
refuses. He just doesn't care.
I have a friend from school who went to Convent San Fernando with me. She is not on social media. She has been to almost every country in the world, and this girl has no social media. She sends postcards.
You see?
Yeah.
And how authentic is that? Does that feel when you get that?
Right. I kept all. I told her, I have to interview you one day. I want to post all these postcards. I want to do a story on you because now, travel content so popular. People going and showing off all the countries they went to, and here you have literally been to every country in the world, and there's no social media.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
The evolution of media. We'll definitely see how it all goes. And,
yeah.
But yeah, I think that, thank you so much for coming on. This has been an awesome
conversation. Are we done already?
Yeah, we could wrap it up. I don't want to keep it too long. We've been for an hour. But
there's so much we could talk about.
No, there is.
Because we have like a shared interest, like in virtual reality.
So yeah,
talking about social media and the evolution.
You're saying people want more real world experiences, and what I was actually going to comment when you said that, this younger generation wants more. It feels like they want more real world experiences. We were working in the metaverse, developing metaverse products, whether it's clothing. We worked with or art. We were turning physical items or art or clothing into digital items to be sold or consumed online in a metaverse world, a 3D persistent metaverse world. And then you were telling me about
Second Life.
You could use it to play Second Life.
Yes.
Which is awesome. And I know some people who worked at Second Life back in the day. And so, but what I realized is that as much as the metaverse is kind of growing in like a game-like way, it wasn't catching on anywhere nearly as quick as anybody would have really liked or I would have liked.
Yeah.
And I think that it may be because the younger generations aren't picking up things like how we did.
Yeah.
They were born into the technology.
I was gonna say they were born into it.
They get to pick and choose.
Yeah.
Whereas we experienced the technology as it was coming out, and we were like, "Ooh,
yeah, exactly.
This looks new."
Exactly. What they're consuming is more. They're consuming more shows and stuff. So they more video. They're not really into the I guess the gamification of it, or
I guess
there's the networking of it. It's more like consuming video, music, acting, like all these short
Darman.
Darman and real story.
Yeah. I know it.
My 11-year-old he's everything. He's only watching Darman on YouTube.
Gina Paris an actor in LA.
Yes.
She is now on rotation, I guess, in the Darman videos, which is the stories, the vertical content.
That is that. I think that is the direction of production now and what people will be consuming on social media.
Talking to Odos.
Yes, I'm in Odos.
Yes, you're in Odos, and with Simon Batiste and crew.
Yeah.
And there's clearly a big push for vertical content.
Yes, there is, and that's something Simon definitely wants to do in the Caribbean.
Yes, which is why I brought it, because I know that there's an initiative that and I hope that it all comes to fruition.
Fantastic.
I think it's a great idea.
It's fantastic.
But I want to see, like, what I would love to see ultimately for the film industry, if we could just talk about film for a second, is I think what would benefit us the most is if we had 20, 30 short films, like a year, just going out to the film festivals every year.
Yeah.
I think it will be impossible to ignore Trinidad as both a destination
And let me say, we have so many
and a
stories to
storytellers.
tell.
It'll be impossible
Oh
to
my
ignore
God!
us.
Even if you're just looking for real stories to tell, we have so much.
A wealth.
We have a wealth of stories.
And you could ignore the folklore and you'll still have a wealth of stuff.
Exactly.
And that's what we've been doing, Cameron and we've been writing like crazy. I write now. I always shied away from writing.
Yeah.
I always would work with writers, whether it's, David Paris, Kirk Garner, Eljon Wadali, Ismail Cameron.
Yeah.
And I'd work with people who, went through the traditional schooling or writing, and I would develop with them. And then after COVID, I was like, well, I'm going to start to kind of sit down, and I now love writing.
Yeah. So you're doing productions, film productions?
Yeah, so we're writing, and then we're packaging the films, and then we go to fundraising for the different films.
Nice.
So we just shot a proof of concept for a film called Order of the Flame, or a series, kind of mini-series called Order of the Flame, about a secret organization that hunts sukuyas.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so it follows a journalist and a priest.
Interesting. So can I tell you, so I have this wish, right? If ever I did an acting course with Penelope Spencer years ago.
Penny is my favorite. So
right.
Anytime anybody mentions Penny, I have to say I did their cycle at Necessary Arts.
Me too.
And Penny I love Penny.
Me too. So I always had this dream of being in a movie as some sort of like mob boss or one of those madams.
Right.
I feel like I could pull that off. So if ever you write,
if I ever come across a character like that, I am calling you for sure.
Call me, please. Thank you. All right.
I'm calling you for sure. I am, and then I guess everybody's now gonna hear Laura Dowrich wants to act.
I was in one of Sean. What's his name? Sean.
Hutchinson?
Yes, I was like a security guard in his Wendy. Something about Wendy
Something
movie.
about Wendy.
Yes,
story about Wendy.
Yes, story about Wendy. Yes, I was
with
a
Heidi
security
and
guard.
Catherine Emmanuel.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a security guard at that, but I want to be like a mob boss or something.
Or a madam.
Or a madam with power, dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I could pull that off.
Playing the bad guy.
Yeah.
That's where I like to live in my acting. Playing the bad guy is the most fun.
It is
the most
right?
complex characters.
Yes.
That villains usually have the most conviction out of any character in the story.
And I feel like women make the deadliest bad people.
Scary villains.
Yeah.
I played Prince Charming in Cinderella 10 years ago, last year, so it's now going on 11 years, when we did with Kathleen Johnson of Bagas and Aaron Schneider directed, and Judy Agard did the music, and Jason Desant did the music, and it was a huge musical. And I played Prince Charming, which was fun, but no, it's kind of vanilla. Of a character.
I was going to ask you about Prince Charming from Sesame Street, because he was not vanilla at all.
No,
do you remember that scene?
I do. Actually,
he had a lot of attitude.
That's true.
He had a lot of
actually,
issues.
now thinking about it, the character is kind of similar. But now thinking about it, more like spoiled. But I realized and in growing up, just kind of acting for I've now been acting now. This will be my 27th year of acting.
Wow.
And the bad guy's it.
Yeah.
That's the most fun.
Good. So next time you're writing,
I can remember that.
Writing a mob boss, an older female mob boss. Yeah.
I can remember that.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much.
Stephen, this was fun.
I'm glad
Thank you for inviting me.
I caught you before you
yes,
fly
2
back
days
out.
before I fly back out.
Turks.
So yes, you caught me in time.
If I ever find myself on my way to Turks and Caicos, I'm going to message
Please
you.
come. Yes, let me know when you're
tell me where to
coming.
go.
It is
Grace
so
Bay.
gorgeous.
Well, I already know Grace Bay.
Yeah, but there are other beaches too that are very nice.
Yeah, point me wrong. Yeah,
I know all the hidden beaches. Beautiful.
That's awesome. But thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
No, I look forward to this episode coming out. I think tourism is a conversation that everybody at some point has had a conversation about tourism in their life. I think every single Trinidadian and Tobagoan. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it really is what we make it. It don't have to be,
like everybody else's
like
brand of
everybody
tourism.
else. It don't have to be neocolonialism. It's really what you make it, right? We have the power.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Take care.